All right, we are back for part two. Let's uh let's play the commercial real quick. Let's play the commercial real quick and then we'll start the video. Let's get into the commercial. Where's the we having some technical difficulties? What's going on?
Live with no fear.
All right, let's get into the show. Let's get into it. All right, so we're continuing off part one. They're still talking about equity and creators and going to different platforms, how creators, how they usually do when it comes to equity. A lot of creators aren't asking for it. Ian's saying they should ask for it. Akademiks is saying there's only a certain amount of people that are going to be able to ask for it, and after that, it's a wrap for it. So let's start the video and let's get into it.
We have X, Y, and Z.
These niggas fighting at the top.
Who's these? Who's these?
I mean,
well, no.
At least in hip hop, like hip hop or podcasting.
Well, because you're trained to take.
Uh-oh. You saying y'all train? What does he mean by that? Like, let's get into it. He's saying you train to take something. Like, think about that. He's saying you are trained to accept certain things and you don't even realize it. Come on. Let's wake up, yo. Let's wake up. That's my dog. Billy. Having good ass dream.
A check. But if you were to re-engineer and rework the way your mentality on the business works, there's a bigger play. It's just being missed because, like crabs in a barrel. That's what it is. I don't want him getting more than me. I don't want.
Everyone wants to be the boss. So when you come from a certain environment, right? You'll take whatever you can get to make you look a certain way. So you'll take a check because you want to buy certain items because you want to look a certain way. So when you're coming from urban communities, give me that check. I don't care about equity. Let me buy my car. Let me buy some jewels, some clothes, so I could go back to where I came from. Excuse me, and I could look like I'm doing better than everybody here. Where Ian is saying that's programming, that's training, that's crabs in a barrel. Whether it's environment, whether it's yourself, is this programmed. You're programmed to do stupid stuff, right? Where if you get equity, there's way more value in it, man. To anyone that just takes a chance and listens, hear me out. Think about the long term. Stop thinking short term. That instant gratification is not worth it. Anything that's instantly gratifying is probably not good for you. Drugs, bad food, bad women, bad deals. It feels good in the moment, but long term, it's not going to play out the best for you. It's not. The things that seem like it's not the best deal, but if you think, well, long term, it might not feel good to eat the healthiest. It may not taste the best initially. I might have to put a little more prep into getting the food or buying the food or making it, right? But you're going to be way healthier in the long run. It may feel like it's not the best to start a business. You got to lose some money. You got to make sacrifices. But in the long run, you have ownership and you're going to get more of that return in the end where you end up making more money, right? So you got to think about the bigger picture. That's why I wanted to do my commentary to this video, because it's a lot of good game, a lot of good information, and it's a good discussion just in general. I think people need to subscribe and watch this. Check it out.
I say that
When
all
in
the time.
reality
It's 50-50.
it's not about the guarantee. It's all in the business. It's all
It's all about the business, yo. And that's something I had to learn. Business it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a process. It's art to it. You know, people get intimidated about business and they think it's so cold, which it can be, don't get me wrong. But there's an art to it. It's something beautiful. You know, when you start something and you watch that thing grow and build, it's like watching a child. You love your child, right? You nurture it, or a plant, and you see it grow. You see it start from a little stem, and then you see another stem. And then you see that flower, and then you see it start budding and the colors coming in. That's what a business is. You have to put effort into it. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to plan. You got to prep. But at the end of the day, your soul, you're going to feel justified for all the work that you put in. And it is what it is. You got to take a chance. Y'all take a chance on everything else. People want to go to the casino and bet their money. People want to work a job they don't like. People will holler at that chick that don't really like them. You'll raw dog some shorty that don't even really like you, but you don't want to start a business. You'll smoke weed all day, but you don't want to take time to study and to learn about business practices, business terms. Go to BILLINICO.com. Check out the website. We got a whole section with different terms and terminology that can get you familiar with business, just to get you in the mind frame. Right? I'm gonna start adding new articles soon for people that want to check it out, and I'm gonna update it more so you could get up to date with the latest that's going on with business, technology, innovation, everything. Right? Because you need to stay informed if you want to grow, because there's always going to be new developments, new techniques. Right? So retrain your mind. The same way he said you guys are trained to take checks. Train yourself to think like a businessman. And if you want to wear a suit, that's cool. But if you want to be someone, look at this man. He got a cool hat on, a little sweatshirt, a little chain under it. He's a businessman. You could be that too. Jay already broke down the doors for it. You know, all that old stigmatism, the old standards is done. Don't get me wrong. You got to have decorum. You got to have some type of etiquette. But you don't got to be no cornball business dude. You don't got to be, some square or whatever. All you got to do is have the guts to try. Get in the game. Because that's where the real money is. That's where the real wealth is. Stop playing around. Get in the game, yo. Get in the game.
all in the what you own. Because if you owned something that they were a part of, all the money, the fees they offer all of us is a joke. It's a fucking joke.
Because ownership gives you control. If you own something, you got a say in it. I'd rather much have power and control than just a little bit of money, because once you get the money, it's like, all right, get out. But if I own this, I have a stake in it. I could say, nah, this is my opinion and it matters, right? Now, obviously, if you have a small ownership, then your power, your control is going to be limited, right? But there's nothing wrong with that, because you still have a stake in the game, and it's more valuable than a little bit of money. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are strategic, now I want people to listen. You could be strategic and you could take cash, right? But you have to know, oh, I'm taking this cash because I'm going to flip it, or I'm going to put this into some ownership somewhere else. At the end of the day, it's assets, right? This is another asset. Ian is talking about ownership in an asset, such as a Spotify or a Rumble, YouTube. Equity means ownership in an asset, just like ownership in a stock or ownership in a real estate, ownership in a business. You got to get some ownership of something so you can have some control of something. First, we got to get ownership of ourselves, to be honest with you. And once we get ownership of ourselves, it's game time. All right? Let's go.
Yeah, but also it's always gonna
it's not gonna uniformly fall to everybody, even if there's a conglomerate. Like for example, even with the kick thing, when I told you Aiden Ross, he got.
It don't have to fall to everybody, but it has to fall to more. You know, we gotta stop. People go to these extremes. We always a lot of what can't. It's not. It's can't not. We're not talking about what can't or not. We're talking about what can right now. The conversation is what can and what could be, and what will. Because these conversations are happening. So even if one person, two people, three, that's enough, right? Because if one more person has ownership in something, then that's one more person that has control, right? Because it's all about control and power. They got everyone thinking about the dollar, like the dollar's the end all be all, when it's not. It's about the power. It's about the influence. It's about the say. And the money's part of that. But you need the ownership and the power too. And then once you get that, then the game really changes for you. You could really do some powerful stuff. You could really have influence. Because that money is only going to go so far. And you don't want to spend all your money, right? If you're an owner of something, you don't even got to spend your money to have control. Think about that, because you're the owner. If you own something, you don't even have to spend your money to have some type of power and influence. If you own the right thing, people are going to come to you without you even spending money, right? Come on, think bigger. Think bigger. There's an audio book that I listened to, The Magic of Thinking Big. I recommend people check that out. Earl Nightingale, Google him, YouTube him. Great audio books, audio YouTubes, videos. Excellent. Start thinking bigger. All right.
got equity. He owns a percentage. These other streamers, he was the first one through the door, so they gave him equity. The rest of y'all come get this check and shut the fuck up, because if you don't take it, your man's gonna take it. So all that equity talk is done.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's never done. It's never done. Depending on what you bring to the table, it's never done. It is what it is.
No, it's not. You have to find someone else. Someone has to be brave enough to build a business worth equity.
Well, you have to realize when all the people that are coming now seem to be smaller creators than the one that already took the equity, and the subsequent ones that came from there. Yeah.
It don't matter if the person's a smaller creator. It depends on who's the creator. Who is the smaller creator? At one time, Drake was a smaller rapper than Wayne or Jay, right? Look at Drake now. Look how much power Drake has. And I remember when Drake came in the game. First, he had the comeback season. He was bubbling. It was like, okay, little new hot dude, different type of rap, a little emotional, but okay, right? Look what he turned into. So whoever's a small quote unquote creator out there, don't get discouraged. Go hard, because you might be the one that actually changes the game. Don't settle, man. Do not settle. Build what you got to build. Bring the value and put that ish on the table. And you tell them what terms you want, and that's it. Keep it moving. Business is business. And we got to start talking like it, yo. We got to start talking like it. Walk in these offices, these boardrooms, these meetings, like it is what it is. This is what I'm bringing. This is what I want to do. But you got to put in the work. You got to know what you're bringing is something too. Don't get me wrong. You can't be walking into something with, something that has no value, something that they ain't gonna sweat over, second guess, consider, right? But when you got something that they can second guess, they can consider, they're like, what is that? What? I mean, what did you build? I mean, how big is your audience? How big is your influence? How different are you? How creative are you? Right? That's when you got them. That's when you got them. So don't fold when it comes to that equity situation. No fear, baby. Live with no fear. BILLINICO, cop the gear. You're going to feel the energy when you wear the stuff too. Right? Kings, queens, whatever. Let's get it, man. Let's get into the game. Let's stop playing.
Now you look ridiculous. Even if you're like, hey, listen, I'm the sports guy. Nothing happened in sports without me. They might be like, all right, cool. Oh, you're only coming here for the equity? Well, we're going to go get the second sports guy. And
all right, so now he goes to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Listen. If you're number 2 sports guy, you got some type of sway. I would never get discouraged. If I'm number 2 and I'm coming in like, how can I say this? Like Joe Budden. Joe Budden's not a Joe Rogan, right? But Joe Budden, look at the moves he's making. He got some, as far as I know, he has equity in Patreon. Like, he's not playing around, but he's not a Joe Rogan, right? He didn't just take a check. Like, the Joe Rogan, does he have equity in Spotify? That's a good, you know what I'm saying? So that act, did someone bring that up? Because that just shut down that argument right there. First guy who did whatever, blah, blah, blah. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, there's only so much equity you can give away, right? So you have to be strategic in, you know, what company you're trying to get equity from. You got to know who's there, you know, who are the players there, obviously. But just the fact that the conversation needs to be had, needs to be considered is the most important thing. Yeah, so I'm going to skip ahead because I don't want to obviously play their video. I want to do my commentary thing and give my insight. This isn't, we're not just watching the Joe Budden podcast. You could go watch their podcast on his YouTube or his Patreon, which I strongly recommend you subscribe and paying the money for. So let me skip ahead a little bit.
That stayed over here.
No, that's not true. What they did was that.
Yo, why Ish got his headphone on like that? His headset. Like, what is this? Like a big kid.
Fuck the golfers. We gonna buy the league.
Okay.
No, that's not what happened.
That's
first.
what happened.
That's
No,
first.
I said first. No, first. First, we failed.
First, they split up the golfers.
Very.
So I haven't been following too much with the golf situation, but yeah, I haven't followed too much. I'm not even gonna speak on it. I'm not gonna speak on it.
Minimal. They failed.
You saying our consistent point.
Tiger want to go.
They failed.
Our point is
band them together with them niggas. They don't care to be banded together with us anyway. So
we don't need Rogan.
But you don't know. It's not about you having to consciously say, "Hey, let's band together." It's about understanding none of us should be taking deals without these prerequisites. It's going into the business deal the way Rogan did.
So Joe Rogan. So I'm assuming Joe Rogan, he got some type of equity or something. He got a good sweet deal, of course. I wish I had that set up for you guys. My bad. I apologize. I'll get better in the future. But yeah, he's right. Go in there with a certain set of terms, you know, and don't be afraid to ask for your value, man. It just is what it is. That's the moral of the story. 2 steps. First step, build yourself up or your business so it's valuable. 2, ask for your equivalent value from, say, company or say person. Simple as that.
Who knows what the fuck he got at Spotify? But I'm sure he's not leaving empty-handed, no matter good, bad, or different. And that's important to know.
Also, you need to negotiate. So when you leave a situation, they breaking you off something. That's where the equity part is important, because if you leave something, like, you're not getting paid no more as like a worker, quote unquote, you still got equity, so you're getting some type of revenue. You know what I'm saying? Because you contributed to that asset. You contributed. You brought your value, your audience to a platform. You want to continue to eat off that. Now, obviously, this is a perfect case scenario. You might not be able to always do that, but this is for the people that can at the end of the day.
I think
all members of Black media could get together in a basement somewhere and talk for the next month, and it would change it would change everything about how Black media is handled and the deals.
True.
But are y'all gonna do that though? That sounds nice, but are y'all gonna do that? Are y'all gonna do that? That's my only thing. Don't bring it up I mean, it's podcasting and it's entertainment, so it is what it is. At the end of the day, they can say whatever. I can say whatever. They can say whatever. But y'all not gonna do that. Y'all not gonna get together. Y'all be beefing about who's number one on the list and who got the most money, and you know what I'm talking about. Y'all beef about the most silliest things. When it comes to real business, are y'all gonna really put y'all pride to the side and get together and do what matters? I'd love to see it. You know, Jay-Z tried it with Tidal. Actually, I gotta give Jay-Z credit for that. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I'm talking about when Jay-Z had them all on stage for the Tidal announcement. J. Cole, Kanye, Nicki Minaj, I forgot who else was there. T.I., whoever. A-listers, A-list rappers, demanding their value or creating their own with their own likeness. That was big. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that he even did it, that's dope. Yeah. That's another notch under the belt. That's legendary. You gotta give it to him for that one. So Joe, I know you play a lot of Jay-Z. You talk about Jay a lot. If you do something like that, if I see you on stage and you got Charlemagne next to you and Schultz and Akademiks, 85 South, who else? Shout out Anton Daniels, whoever, shoot, Big Loon. I know y'all don't like Big Loon right now. Big Loon up there, If I see all y'all podcasters, creators, Dame, whoever, on the stage, EYL, and y'all create like a platform, wow, that's big. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Because there's some people that we don't have no idea, right? That we've never seen that are controlling these platforms. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z created Tidal and went up against these dudes. That's big business, man. He said, what'd he say? What y'all about to witness is big business, kid. Big boss is cocky and big business is. I don't think y'all understand what type of event this is. And I feel the same way. But it take work, man. It take consistency, work. Most importantly, God. So I'm putting that in the universe. We are creators. We are capable. So I'm putting that in the air. So you said it. And I was kind of dogging you a little bit in the beginning, Joe. But if you could do that and pull that together, all you guys, I'd love to see it. And don't do it in the basement. Record it. Show people. Matter of fact, make content out of that. Called the basement meetup, or I don't know, where y'all talking about it. For real. Like, man, come on, change the game. Let's get it. I'm excited. Let's go.
Everybody cuts.
I would agree with that. But you.
Too much bickering, though.
That's all we're saying.
No, but even
That's all
Joe,
we're
you
saying.
won't even go in some of the rooms.
but
with some of these
even
niggas,
in-
man.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm hearing a lot of opposite from Ack. A lot of no, this, not. Which is true, though. He's just being, he's playing the advocate. So it is what it is.
All of the rooms.
No.
I wouldn't.
Shout out Big Ack, and I don't want them chat dudes coming after me. Look at, shout out Big Ack. Look at that chain right there. I don't want no problems with homie.
All of
You
them.
wouldn't go in the basement with them niggas to be like, hey,
Yes,
listen,
we would.
let's get
You getting a little chubby in the cheeks, though. You got some nuts hanging. Pause. You got something in. I don't know what he's storing in there. Let it out.
Ack.
Let's get on the same page.
That's not true.
Ack.
That's a
not,
misconception.
not only
That's not
would
true.
we, but I'm happy to give it all up in the room and do some real whiteboarding and collaborating to come up with a plan that makes
Record it with the whiteboard. Man. If I don't see Joe Budden, Charlemagne, 85 South, Dame Dash, EYL with the whiteboard, I'm gonna be, man, y'all better stop playing. BILLINICO commentary. Go to BILLINICO.com. Got art. We got the fly clothes. We got the new shirts with the new designs. If you want to be fresh and you want to be clean and you want to be different, go to BILLINICO.com. Do not be afraid to wear something different. Do not be afraid to try something new. And most importantly, live with no fear. They're just thoughts. They're just feelings. They're just emotions. Be in the moment. Be God. Be with God. All right?
Makes sense. It's not about unionizing. It's about understanding.
It's tough to unionize, right? It's tough to unionize because with the golfers,
I'm going to skip ahead a little more.
In what I believe is a independent media brand.
There you go.
Or owning part of that. I'm not
Multimedia.
into that. You get what I mean? But I'm not opposed to partnerships, though. You get what I mean? Okay, hey, I want to do the show.
So I think Akademiks is talking about his brand right now, his business, and where he sees himself right now.
Hey, I think if we kind of build this thing that's an offshoot, cool. But again, I wouldn't put it out there to make people feel like, hey, listen, anyone's signing the deal, because I don't know other people's business. You know, now I think it's different when, that's why I said your start point was different, because you already were
no. They're talking. So I'm in the video with this last part. They're talking about Joe Budden's starting point. So they were discussing with Joe Budden about whether he had an easier starting point in the podcasting space because of his celebrity, right? His rap career. He was on Love and Hip Hop. Had him, a successful rap career, or semi-successful rap career. I don't know why I said semi-successful. My bad, Joe. He had a successful rap career. Pump It Up was a smash. I remember when I was a kid watching that music video, dope video. He had that song with the piper. You probably don't want to remember that right now. And obviously his reality show. So his celebrity was able to be used to transition into podcasting. But Joe Budden's argument, which is valid, is saying he has so many effed up relationships that it was actually difficult for him starting a podcast. And I actually understand what he's saying. It's easy to say in hindsight, because of what a Joe Budden podcast is now, to say, man, you had it easy. You were a rapper. They knew who you was, and blah, blah, blah. Now, I need people to think hard real quick, because I'm going to try to paint the picture for you. I ain't even about to play too much. I'm just going to be talking right now. Picture you're a rapper. Picture you're Joe Budden. All right? No, really, visualize it. In 2013, 14, whatever he started this podcast, right? And you're retiring from rap. You're done. And he's not Jay-Z. He's Joe Budden. He's Joe Budden back then. Come on. Right? You got effed up relationships. These are his words though. You trying to transition into podcasting, but people don't really like you in the industry. You got so many effed up situations, people trying to cut this and cut that. It's work. You're going from this studio to record, you're going here to record, you're trying to find a host. You don't really like this host, so you get rid of her because she's just not cutting it. She dog you out. She's devaluing your brand. People are like, oh, that's easy, man. You're a celebrity. It's like, nah, that wasn't easy. Dealing with it in the moment was not easy. It was work. And Joe Budden is trying to communicate, yo, I worked the entire time. That was work. And it was actually harder because of X, Y, and Z from his perspective, right? And he's also saying, if I had a clear slate, if I was Joe Schmo and not Joe Budden, based on my talent, because he's saying he's still him, right? If he was still him with the same skill set, same talent, but just not the reputation, he would have still been able to break through and probably been even bigger because he would have had a clean slate. See, people are putting his fame on him like it was like this blessing, and he's looking at it like, yeah, it's a blessing, but it also, you got to look at the curse aspect, because if he had a clear slate, he could have had so many other doors open. Who knows? He could have been on mainstream television years ago just because no one knew who he was, and the same talent but this a clear resume, so to speak, right? Because we all know people, it's all about relationships at the end of the day. Business is about relationships, right? And Joe Budden had to repair a lot of relationships. People forget Joe Budden rebranded himself. He rebranded his whole image. He repaired a lot of relationships. So yeah, now after all the work is done, it's easy to say, "Oh, you're successful and yeah, you had it easy." And he's like, "No." He's flat out saying no. No, and I know how that is when you're telling someone something and they're just not listening and they're not getting it. But you know what you mean in your art. So I'll play a little more and then we're gonna end this. This is part 2. I don't think I'm gonna do a part 3. I think we got most of the point. Ask for your equity, and don't be afraid to ask for your equity. And we're gonna analyze a little more about this part with Joe Budden, how he got to start, and was it a blessing or was it a curse?
Budden, like you already are Joe Budden,
A brand already.
not needing. It's like you're.
See, they're saying it like Joe Budden's brand back then wasn't this Joe Budden's brand. And if that was the case, then why did so many other celebrities fail at podcasting? Because there's people that had bigger brands that were known and they failed. He's saying, forget my brand, it's about my talent. And if I had my talent without the reputation, I would have been even bigger, that's crazy to think because Joe Budden's one of the biggest podcasts out already. In his mind, I think he thinks he would have been Joe Rogan or bigger than Joe Rogan. Right? I think sometimes we gotta look at ourselves in lives, and it's like in our lives, a lot of us could have been the Michael Jordan of son, right? And when I say the Michael Jordan of something, Michael Jordan, LeBron, these are people that really executed in their, because it's basketball. We all watch basketball. We all seen it, right? So it's an analogy or an example that we all can relate to and understand. If we all executed the way they did in our professions or careers, that's considered being the GOAT. And Joe Budden is the GOAT of podcasting, but he's not the GOAT of podcasting like universally. That's what Joe Budden wants. See, Joe Budden's thinking bigger than just Breakfast Club and Brilliant Idiots and, no disrespect, the urban podcast space. He's thinking like, I could have been that dude. My mind is way bigger than what y'all think. And I get it. But when you make the wrong decisions early on, it hinders you. We all have to be cognizant of the decisions that we make and that we decide to do, because they're going to have lasting consequences. And then we're going to look back and be like, dang. Now, obviously, you got to stay in the moment and keep moving. Don't look back too long, because the past is the past. You can't change it. But I totally understand where Joe's coming from. I get it.
You're already Joe Budden.
But that's why
you then had to go do the independent thing. I don't think people get to even think about those rooms without being independent. So they're coming from here. You already are here, and you're like, listen, instead of staying here, I'm going over there, which I've never been.
Why are you saying that our start points are different?
Your start point is different.
It is. Explain it to me.
If Cam and Mace, right? They started a show. Their start point isn't the same as if Poe and Corey went and started a sports podcast.
There's a deal already offered to them by the mere fact that they have a.
I understand what y'all saying. What I'm saying is, Ak is only allowed in that room because he created the profitable independent business.
Profitable or independent, don't matter. Don't matter if you're a celebrity. Does it work? Is it making money? Simple and plain. Did it work? We really limiting ourselves. We gotta, you putting celebrities on a pedestal. You putting celebrities above you. I don't put no celebrity above me. I ain't a celebrity, but I know my talent. And I know if I create something that's profitable, people are gonna want to come. They're going to either want me to join their table or they're going to want to come sit at my table while I build it. Simple. Akademiks built a table, and major companies said, what is that? Let me get some of that. And They invited him to their table, i.e. Complex. Joe Budden is saying y'all focus too much on the celebrity aspect instead of just what it really is. The business. It's all back to the business, like like AD says, it's about the business, man. It's about the business at the end of the day.
Period.
Joe Budden did the exact same thing.
But your start point was different than
Yo, it's like a cognitive dissonance. It don't matter. It's about doing it, man. There's people that are bigger celebrities that didn't do it. There's people that are lesser celebrities that didn't do it. Akademiks wasn't a celebrity. He became a celebrity because he built the business. There's some dude on YouTube that built a lane that was a smash. So now he's sitting on the couch next to Joe Budden. Right? That's what he's saying. And Ish, you in the game. So you definitely shouldn't be thinking like that. Ice, you too. Y'all are in the game. Unless y'all just doing this for pie purposes, trying to, just have a good conversation. That's not, nah. If Joe Schmo today builds a business that's profitable, anybody's going to want a part of it. It just is what it is. They don't care if he's a celebrity or not. The fans might care if he's a celebrity, but that's only fickle. Fans only care about, it's about business. What are you offering as value? You could be a celebrity and you offer no value, and then people are not going to pay attention to you. A lot of times celebrities are only valuable because of the people that we don't know around them that put them in a situation that made them valuable. Joe Budden is one of the rare celebrities that made himself valuable off of his work, right? Jay-Z continues to make himself valuable off of him. Now, obviously, there's people around him that helped him, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean that you're valuable, or you know how to make yourself valuable, or you could transition your skills into other things that are profitable or that are going to be sought after. We 37 minutes in, but this is getting good. I might actually stay for a little longer.
Akademiks. He said start point. We're not talking about once you in the room.
But the start point is make an equitable, profitable,
simple,
independent business. Don't look at the action.
And
the
you're
action
wrong,
is different.
His start point was 0. I was in the fucking room and there was no money coming in. So I don't care if he's Joe Budden.
When you're building something and there's no money coming from, it's the same thing. It don't matter if you're the celebrity or you're the guy in the basement. You can't think like that. There could be some, I get it. I get what it looks like. You're thinking, if Arnold Schwarzenegger starts a podcast today, it's going to be a smash. It might not be a smash. His lane, it might not make sense. He might do a podcast about ice cream. We don't want to hear you doing a podcast about ice cream. Why did you do that? It's dumb. It don't make sense. Where I could do a podcast about what I'm doing right now, people find value in it. Nobody knows who I am. Oh, you got products. Oh, you sell products too? How much product? How much merch you move? Oh, I move X, Y, and Z. Oh, you got partnerships and X, Y, and Z with your company, with other brands and restaurants and hotel. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, wait, I don't know who you are, but can I talk to you? So I had to say to Ish Din, I was looking at, did I have the same starting point as Joe? Yes. Because we all have the same starting point. We all start with like a notepad, a whiteboard, or an idea. And it's not a good idea, it's God's idea. Because we're creators at the end of the day. We're meant to create. And when you find your lane and what you want to do, you start from the same foundation. You're building. When you're building, everyone starts from the same place, ground zero. Yeah, you might have different resources and X, Y, and Z, but how are you going to put it together? There could be someone that has $1 million to build with and they can't build nothing because they don't know how to build it. They're not creative enough to build it. They don't got no swag. It don't come to it. This is what it is. It don't make sense. And there could be someone that got $10 that put something together and 2 people are like, oh, shoot, that's dope. Can you make me another one? And they're like, yeah, next week. Then they get $20 and they double it. Then they double it again and double it again. That's what he's talking about. It's the same starting point, man. Open your minds up. Come on. Think bigger.
That's not the start point, Ian. He still was a celebrity. He still was a celebrity that had an audience that he did that was already there based on their love of his person.
That's just somebody starting with what they starting with and building. It is what it is. He had the audience, and there's no guarantee that his audience wants to hear podcasting. Did he know his audience was gonna listen to podcasting? You know what I'm saying? I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say you have an advantage because you're a celebrity, but that's gonna discourage people to even try, in my opinion, because you might bring something to the table that celebrity with their audience ain't bringing. Just because they got an audience don't mean they can talk. Just because they got an audience don't mean that they got something worth people listening to. Like, come on.
Personality in his music.
So you're saying the check represents
I will admit though, Joe Budden, because of who he is, Joe Budden was such an insightful rapper, someone that was so personable. He could transition and he could bring his audience to a podcast because his fans already. And I don't know if he planned for that, because this is why it's so dope, right? When you really expose yourself and like he did, right? Because people felt so connected to him. I bet his audience, whatever percentage of his audience that were rap fans that went to listen to the podcast, they felt like they knew him because he rapped so much about his personal life. So they was like, oh, he's just gonna talk about what we already know, and he's gonna add on even more details. So, you know, that would have been a good argument. And I don't think anyone even said that. But that would have been a good argument. And even then, that's still him starting from the beginning, because he was the one that was rapping and putting in all that work, technically. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about starting point, his starting point was Pump It Up. Or actually before Pump It Up, him writing raps in his room. That's his starting point. You know what I'm saying? He built a huge catalog and audience off of himself, and it eventually transitioned into the success of the podcast because the people that he was able to bring with him initially, they knew, because he was such an insightful rapper, they knew a lot about him, so they wanted to hear about it. Obviously his talent was able to make it blow up even more. So yeah.
Yes, he started, Joe back in the day, pre-podcast, could get on a live somewhere or get on YouTube, and we have arguments that are still on YouTube from 20 years ago that people would see me.
But that's part of him starting, in my opinion. Him getting on live and doing all those things was part of him practicing and building the business. Maybe, I don't know if he knew it consciously, but that was part of him. That was part of the business. You know, if you talk to business owners, or when you start your business, you might start in a certain lane, or you might start doing something in the beginning and it's going to transition to something else that's similar, but not exactly what you thought you were going to be doing. You know, you might offer a service, right? Let's use landscaping, right? You might start like, oh, I'm going to mow the lawn, and you've been practicing mowing the lawn, and then all of a sudden you notice the hedges, and you're like, oh, I'm doing hedges too. You know what I'm saying? Then you're like, you know what? I'm already outside doing this. I'm going to start doing stuff in the winter. I'm doing these ancillary services. You're building your experiences. You're building your clientele. You're transitioning your clientele to your new services. That's all that is. It sounded like Joe just kept working. He kept innovating, stayed creative, and he kept working. So it was the same starting point. If you're Joe Smo, you can do the same thing. You have to be creative, and you might not have the visibility, but if you're bringing something that's valuable, you're gonna gather an audience. It might be slow, it might take a little while, but if you're talented enough, that audience is gonna come. We'll play a little more, and then we'll get off this, and then I'll see y'all at the next video.
Around my neighborhood and be like, yo, I'll kick your ass in Monopoly. You can't fuck with me in Monopoly. True. That was a start point for him that somebody else off the street don't have.
Joe was an independent contractor.
True.
That had to figure out how to be as profitable as it could be.
Joe was a name.
No, just more than the name. It's
No,
more than-
I'm just saying you had.
You came in with more.
Bro, listen to what I'm saying. You came into the game as Joe Budden.
I get that. I'm only
You
trying
had
to tell y'all
notoriety.
that the start point is start an independent, profitable business. Before you can do anything else, I don't care how it is you do that.
But he's saying
More of the story, and we're gonna end it at that. Build something that's profitable, independent, that's yours, and then leverage it. You know, either it's gonna be making money on its own, or you're gonna be able to make money with somebody else, someone bigger. They're gonna be able to give you some more money. It is what it is. Forget celebrity, forget all of that. Yes, there's that a factor, but if you ain't building nothing that's valuable, that's profitable, it really don't matter at the end of the day. So salute to anybody that took a chance and listened, and go check out BILLINICO.com. You know, we got new stuff, new merch up there, and you know, stay